Hey there, how is it going? Well, welcome to Brother Sewing Facebook and YouTube group. Can you tell I've been fishing for a whole week, which was awesome, but I'm back into the trench of work. So welcome everyone. I see you all rolling in. If you've never been here before, say hi, say where you're from. And don't forget, we got the hashtag now. Use your little emoji for what country you're from, because it's pretty cool that we're from all over. So how are you today? Oh, thanks, Arnelle. I missed you guys too. Actually, I was going to go live on Wednesday from the boat, but it was a little bit, what would be the word? Sporty. It was a very sporty week of fishing. Rough waves on a couple of the days. In fact, one day we were running in and I think they were, oh gosh, they had to be 3 to 5s. And we had to run full board or we weren't going to make it in time for the contest. So did we win anything? Barely. We were at the, I think we got in 8th place and 10th place out of like 30 boats. So it's not that bad. So we're not losing our touch. It just fishing really stunk. That's all I can say. But it was a lot of fun. So anyways, how are you guys? So today I thought this would be a fun thing. It's spring, summer, and I have gotten a slew of questions on how to hem your pants into capris. Now, this could be an entire online class. Hemming capris, because do you want a blind stitch? Do you want slits in the side? Do you want top stitching? Do you want, all these different things? So I'm just going to do a basic hem. It's very common in a pair of khakis, things like that, where the hem is rolled over twice, top stitched. I'm going to show you how to hem those, just a little bit shorter for capris. You could even hem them into shorts or just above the knee, whatever you want. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is what would be the cutest length. It depends really what you're doing. And then I have a little pant leg. I didn't want to rip up a whole pair of pants. So I have a pant leg that you'll be able to see pretty good. So we're going to hem those. Sound good? And just so you know, the schedule for the week, today is Brother Sews. This afternoon, Cindy Hogan is going to be on. Tomorrow at 1:30, behind the scenes on the Angela Wolf Facebook page and YouTube page. And then Thursday, we are live again with Emily Thompson, and she's going to be sewing a mesh bag. And on top of all of that, on Thursday, we're giving away the last Brother Sewing machine. Because we missed a couple weeks in there, the contest was extended a couple of weeks. So the last one is going to be drawn on Thursday. And then the sweepstakes. Have you seen the whole thing with the sweepstakes on the Brother Facebook page? If you haven't, when we're finished live today, just go to their page. It's right on the top. You can click on it, enter, and good luck. They're giving away 3 awesome packages. I was pretty excited to be part of that too. So, all right. So let's talk about hems. And then what I'll do is at the very end, I'll come back and take your questions if you have any. I see, welcome everyone. A ton of you rolling in, which is awesome. So by the way, before we talk about the hems, did you enjoy the It's So Easy marathon every day at noon? I have to laugh. I was reading some of the comments from the first couple days, and I think some people didn't realize that was from 10 years ago. In fact, that wasn't even HD. That was SD. I didn't even think it was worth replying on that. But either way, that was a 1 episode from every single season for the last 10 years, which is pretty awesome. So if you didn't figure that out, it wasn't that it was poor quality of camera. It was not even HD quality back then. So just be clear about that. It was fun though. And it's fun to see what other people have been doing on there for all these years. So, all right, so let's talk about pants. So I have my dress form behind me and, well, my body form, I should say. All right, so you really can't see the legs from here. So I'm going to back it up just a little bit. When you're hemming pants, if you're going to turn them into capris or something like shorts, there are a couple flattering lengths and a couple that are not so flattering. It really depends on your particular figure, but a lot of us, we're taller, shorter, wider, skinnier, it doesn't matter. A couple places you really want to avoid is right in the middle of your calf. Yes, right in the middle of the calf. That is like one of the most unflattering ways or hems. And I never paid attention until I saw a whole presentation on this. And it really, if you go right into the middle of your calf, even if you've got the best muscular calves ever, it doesn't matter. Right there, it just is not a flattering. So if you just go just above the calf or below the calf, and let me explain that. Your calf is the largest part, below your knee. If you go above it, it's a little narrower, and if you go below it, it's a little narrower. So it looks great in either place. But in the middle, it just stops and looks wide. So still, you can do what you want to. You're the fashion designer. But yes, that is one thing. And then another thing is, let's just say you want them into, like these. I bought these. And this is the length they are, and they're folded up. So you can go just right above your ankle. That's a cute length. Right below your calf. Right above your calf. Right above the knee. And then there's a length through here that looks pretty good. You want to try to avoid the widest part of your hips. The widest part of your thigh, I should say. So either above it or just below it. That's another spot. And that's kind of an iffy area because it really depends how old you are. That's kind of another thing too. So, yeah, I agree. So I just saw a question on here. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Karina. I bought these, actually. These are the pants. Do you guys remember the story last year about these pants? I tried them on at the store, and they had holes already in them, and my foot went through here, and it ripped a hole, and I felt so bad that I bought them. And actually, they were meant to be holey like that, but yeah, don't even ask. And, we all sew, so I cannot believe I just purchased a pair of pants that look like they're 20 years old, but hey, whatever. Okay. All right, so let me just go, and I'm going to take you to these pants, and let me show you how to hem these, all right? And I'll answer your questions when we're finished here. So here's my pant leg. Like a little pretend one. You can see the hem. It's a double folded hem, so on the inside, this is what it looks like. If I bring this up closer. And the outside just looks like that. You see, this is very, very common. This is the same with maybe jeans, stuff like that too. So I'm going to bring you in just a wee bit closer, and I'll try to move you around slowly because then we'll go to the sewing machine. You see that okay? So the first thing you want to do is after you put these on yourself, you'll fold them up on your leg. And I'm going to do it here, but I can't really fold it and show you at the same time on myself. So I will mark the front and the back. And what I usually do is I'll pin that, and I'll try them on again and try them on to make sure they look okay. So now what if you open it up and you pinned up 2 inches in the front and only 1 inch in the back? Well, try them on again. When you're going to capris, usually the length in the front and back and sides will be the same. So if you pin it and it's all like off, just do it again. And then what I'll do is press it up and pin all the way around and try them on. So let's just say that once you finally did this, you marked your hem, and you realize that you need to hem your pants 2 inches. So from the hem, which this is the bottom of the hem, there's no need to rip all this out at first, okay? It depends. Are you going to be hemming it where it only goes up this far? Well, then you're going to need to rip that out. Let's just say I'm going to change that to 3 inches. What if we're hemming 3 inches? I'm going to mark that. There's 3 inches. You see that yellow, okay? And here's 3 inches. I usually mark the front, the back, and the side. There's 3 inches. Now, how long is my previous hem allowance? It looks like it's folded up at 1 inch. So that would be 1 inch up in the back, and then it's folded over again. And that's usually about half of what your hem is. So I need 1.5 inches for my hem. So if I mark now 1.5 inches below this, and 1.5 inches below this, and 1.5 inches below this, look it, I don't even have to rip these stitches out. If you needed to rip them out, I'm just going to give you a quick way to do that. You'll open the pants up. You slide your seam ripper in, just give yourself a few little, and I stitched this with a 2.5 too, which you would never do on a hem, but just give yourself a couple little snips. You have to use a sharp seam ripper. A couple little snips like that. And then if you slide in, I'm hoping I grabbed the seam ripper that I did not use to open packages. Once you slide that in, just a couple, rip out a couple stitches like that. Slide your seam ripper in with the ball side down. And if you push towards the hem, then you won't rip pant hem. And just rip it out like that all the way around. Now I don't need to rip mine because I'm going up 3 inches. And if you're going to hem to capris, you probably will be hemming it up quite a ways. All right, so from the hem up, we've got 3 inches. On this side, I just need to mark this center part, 3 inches, just so I have a place to fold. You see that okay? You see that yellow? And then on this side, there's the yellow. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is trim off. I'm trimming this right at that bottom area where this is the bottom. We don't need that. So now my hem allowance will be 1 inch up and then a 1/2 inch in. If that makes sense, you'll catch on as we go. So what I take the side seam and the other side seam right at these marks here, give it a little tug. And all of your markings should match up when you tug. If your pants were for some reason longer on one side or the other, then they won't. So this gives a nice tight grip. You'll want to use probably a press cloth, depending on what you're doing. I'm not going to because this is so you can see this. I give it a steam, hold it down with the clapper. Looks pretty good. I'm just going to press the other side too. I don't usually do that, but I'm just going to make sure that you can see both. So that's going to be my new hem. See how nice and crisp and flat that is? That's what you want. So the next thing you want to do is mark up. This is going to be folded over twice, remember? So now I'm going to mark down 1 inch from that pressed edge. 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch. And 1 inch. Now your pants might have been different. Maybe you had a 2 inch folded over cuff. You kind of however your original pants are, that's usually what I copy for this. So again, fold over on the inseams. Give it a little tug. And I can see my yellow marking right here. So I'm going to go ahead and press this. My iron has a little bit of gook on it, which is why I did not want to use it on a good pair of pants until I clean my iron. That'll be a whole nother episode. Maybe I'll do it for you tomorrow live because this thing's getting pretty bad. I've been using a lot of fusibles. All right, there we go. So now I have, it's folded once, about a 1/2 inch, and then folded under a full inch. And then I always like to give it one more good pressing so when I go to stitch, I have no problems with anything being out of place. That looks good. And that looks good. So we're ready to sew. Any questions on that so far? Go ahead. When I'm done sewing all this, I'll come and answer your questions, but you can see that. Now, what if your pants were really tapered? Well, then you might need to open up the seam allowance just a little bit on the inside. Because when this is folded over, your inside hem needs to be equal to the outside. So when you sew, you don't end up with puckers. All right. I'm not giving a tutorial on that today, so don't ask. That's a whole nother. We're just doing basic hemming today. And I'm going to take you over to the sewing machine. You see that okay? Bring you down here. Now, oh, by the way, there are different hems. I should take you back up to the screen. So if you get dizzy, close your eyes just for a sec. On here for my sewing, I can choose, I usually like to hem with the center. You can have your needle on the left or the right. It doesn't matter. But you want to have a stitch length that's a little bit longer. So if you're just going to use one spool of thread, which you could use more than one if you want something, thicker, you want to at least change your stitch length to a 3.5 to a 4.0. I have to say when I'm top stitching anything that's like a cotton or something like that, 4.0 is usually my favorite stitch length. Okay. Now my other favorite stitch, which many of you have watched me before, and I'm not going to do that one here, but well, I could go ahead and do it because it is my favorite. If you look up here to the right, a little bit higher. There you go. Thought you could see that a little bit better. This one here, that's the triple stitch. It goes back and forth. So you can use one spool of thread, but it really looks like designer thread, or you know what I mean, like designer top stitching. And I use this a lot of times on jeans. So I just have regular thread in here, if I bring this up and show you somewhere. There you go. Just one spool of regular thread. And I'm going to use that stitch, and I'm just going to change the stitch length. First of all, I like to stitch with it in the center. It's just my preference. So I'm going to move this over, and I do that by hitting the width. It'll actually move it over to whatever position I want. Let's see what. That looks good. And I also want to change my stitch length on this one. So right now it's 2.5. Again, I'm going to change it to a 4.0. You'll always want to test the stitch. But again, it's the triple stitch. On this machine, this is the Stillaire. So it's 1-05 on the sewing screen. Got it? Okay, so let me show you how to stitch in the round if your machine is flush in the table. Because I could lift up my machine and stitch all the way around, which, why don't we do that? That'd be easier. But let me just show you. If you didn't have that option and you had just a flat table, if you turn your pants inside out, because you always want to stitch from the right side of the garment. If you turn this inside out, then you can stitch this way. See how my needle will go down? And I can just hold this up and stitch all the way around. But let me show you a way that probably would be the easiest for all of you. If you have any of these machines that have where you can take the lid off, I'm just going to raise up my machine, take this plastic off, and raise this up. There we go. So you can put your pant leg all the way around this. So if you usually have your pants, probably with, let me see which box this goes to. If you're totally clueless right now and you're like, my machine doesn't have that. If your machine usually looks like this slides right off, and then you can hem your pants. It just makes it really easy. And you can get in some pretty small areas, by the way. All right, let me bring you back over here so you're not staring at the back of my head. Now, because it's this way, I'm not going to slide this on and hem. Why? Because you remember I said you stitch from the right side of the garment. This gets a little tricky for people because they'll say, but I can't see the hem. Well, if you know that this fold is up 1 inch, you're going to top stitch just a little bit over from 1 inch. So let me just slide this on. I usually start at the inseam. It just makes it easier. It blends in better because you're going to stitch over that a couple times. And I'm just going to slide this down. I can feel the edge of my fabric. Just take that laser light off. So I can actually, you can feel the edge of the fabric if you put your finger there. So put your needle just next to it. Maybe like, you want to be about, gosh, 1/8 of an inch away, ideally, something like that. I'm just going to make sure I'm over just far enough. And not too far. You want to make sure you're capturing that fold. There we go. And then if you look over here, where your eye is going to focus is not here. It's going to focus over here. So I have this fold lined up right on here with this line right here. And that's what I'm going to watch. So now we're using the triple stitch, remember? So it's going to go back and forth and back and forth. And the only other thing I see is I wanted this needle in the center position and it's a little off. I'm going to move it back over just a little bit because that's weird. Okay, so now that I moved that, now I can see, now I'm just a little bit off of that line. Another option you have is, okay, giving you like 3 options here, is to go back to this line or pick a line that you want to follow. Let's just say you want to follow this line right here before that screw. Then you can go ahead and move your needle over to the edge of that fabric. So now I'm going to line up the edge of my fabric right here with this guideline. I'll bring you a little closer so you can see. And I move my needle over right to the edge of that fold of fabric. Got it? Pretty easy. And now I'll just stitch. So my eye is actually watching over here and not right here. Now, why is my fabric buckling like that? Well, it's actually not buckling. It's going back and forth. Remember, we're doing the triple stitch. I'll stitch a little slower so you can watch this. See how it goes? So it's stitching each area 3 times. So it's like having 3 spools of thread going through the same needle. But you have seen me do that before if you've watched any of my classes on some of my online classes. See how nice that's looking? I'm using a contrasting color so you can see it. I'm just going to rip that one stitch out before we get around. So when you get around to the other side, now you're going to, you need to make sure that you've matched up your stitches and you're going to stitch over where you started, just by a couple stitches. And then you can either do the stay stitch if you have that on your machine, which on this one, it's right here. I just hit this button right here. And just goes up and down. Or you can back stitch. That's a lot of thread to back stitch with the triple though. I prefer the stay stitch. Then cut your thread. And let's go right here to the pressing. Looks pretty nice. Let's give it one more pressing. Use a tailor's clapper to give it a nice crease. Go to the other side. And for those of you that are looking to make a little money, this is a great way as a business to do a hem pant. So this is what it looks like on the outside. And you look closely at that triple stitch. Now the inside I used a different color thread, so you can't see it so well, but that's all. That's a really nice hem, and that's quick. So you could do that for shorts. This is a very common hem for shorts. In fact, my husband just bought a bunch of shorts that are too long, and he wants me to hem them up 1 hem length. You know what that means? I got to fold it up 1 hem length, press it, and then go rip out all these stitches. I had said, couldn't you have bought longer ones where I could rip them out a couple inches? Not so much. All right, so I'm coming back over to see if you have questions. Pretty simple, right? Yeah. So that is how easy it is to hem a pair of pants. Now, do any of you guys have questions? So Susan, do you use a special foot for the hem? I just use a regular, I'm not doing a blind hem here. This is just top stitching, so I'm using just the regular J foot. And I'm stitching from the right side of the garment. That was a big thing. Oh, great to see you, Angela. Great, great. Oh, Dearborn, Michigan. Hey, by the way, Carol, did you get that monstrous storm that we got a couple days ago? We were on a boat while that hit, and I think it hit your side of the state next. It was pretty big. All right, I'm just making sure I'm not missing any questions. Oh, thanks, Marty. It does work. It's really easy too, isn't it? Yep, I can't wait to see you guys try this. So don't forget, if you add things to Instagram or something like that, be sure to use hashtag #BrotherSews and hashtag Angela Wolf, or tag us. Our Instagram, I put them right up there so you wouldn't forget. Would you match your thread? Arnelle wants to know, would you match your thread or go lighter or darker? You know, Arnelle, it's really funny you say that because I was actually just trying to match some legging thread. And I would say it really, really depends. Sorry, let me turn my phone off. My phone wants to do an update. Don't they know we're busy right now? Okay, so I would say it really depends because I tend to go darker when it comes to navies and stuff like that, and I tend to go lighter when it's in the lighter fabrics. So it really, really depends if it's a solid color, if it's like a pinks. In the pinks, I tend to go lighter. Otherwise, it looks too red or too dark pinky. So I would say it depends. Probably 80% I go a tad lighter instead of darker because the lighter kind of blends in a little bit more. But also, you know, I did this. Let me show you these really cute shorts. I was just going to finish these. So in the Fashion Sewing Club, we are doing this with the skirt this week, but I did this on It's So Easy where I made a cute waistband And then these are leggings with a little skirt over it. But look at the thread. I had to use a contrasting thread. Isn't this cute? It's like a tennis skirt almost, but it has leggings underneath of it. So so your laugh for the day is I showed these to Win because I have them in another color. And I said, I put a little pocket in the side of the leggings. He said, so you are going to walk down the street and you're going to lift up your skirt to get your phone. That people are going to wonder what in the heck you're doing. They're not going to know I had leggings under there. So, hey, you never know. Be careful. Don't stop traffic. But here is that's your laugh for the day. This is the thread I chose as a contrast. And you can see it's like a gray. I did this with a double cover stitch. See the back side? But I really like that contrast. So if you can't find a matching thread, maybe get creative and go with something totally different because it'll just look like designer stitching. So keep that in mind too. That was a great question, Arnelle. All right. What kind of table? Hey, Anna, you could message me on that. It's not a Brother product, but if you message me, I can let you know. So, yeah. And no, it's commercial, a commercial table. You've seen it on It's So Easy quite often, too. In fact, I have another one over here I use for my Luminaire. But you know what? Tomorrow in tomorrow's show, I'll show you because that's on my page. But since it's not a Brother product, I won't show it here. Surely you've used the triple stitch before and love it. I know it's easy to use. The only thing you got to be careful with the triple stitch is when you use this longer stitch length, if you're going to say go around a curve or jacket collar, when you get to the corners or you're going around a curve, you might have to shorten the stitch just a little bit. Otherwise, when it goes back and forth, it's kind of like a zigzag. It won't know that it was supposed to go back here because you're turning the fabric. You're welcome. Oh, thanks. All right, you guys, any more questions on that? Oh, wait, here, let's see. Good afternoon from Indiana. Hi, Sarah. Did you mean lighter as in color or weight? Lighter as in color is what I think she was asking about colors. So there's a ton of different threads you could use. But this was just standard universal poly thread that I was using for the stitching. I use that quite often. When I did alterations for all those years, can you even imagine having the same color designer, I keep saying designer, but denim thread? I always called it designer because that's what it looks like, designer jeans. They only offer a certain number of colors. So this way, by using the triple stitch, you can use just regular thread that you have laying around and match it as close as you can, which there's a gazillion colors of that. And it really makes a good designer looking top stitch. So thanks for asking that to be clarified. Good morning. And I just answered that, Barbara, what thread I used. So let's see, Dottie, what's your question? Debating on buying the Brother cover stitch 3550. Should I pull the trigger? Well, Dottie, first off, I'm biased because I am a Brother brand ambassador, but I have the machine right over here and I use it all the time. And I actually use the, hold on, let me just make sure that's what it is, 3550. Yeah. That's the double. I was making sure that was the number for the double cover stitch. This is the double cover stitch. I did this all with the double cover stitch. So you can see there's stitching on both sides that look great. If you sew a lot of knits and a lot of sportswear, first of all, for anyone that does that, first thing you need is a serger. Second thing on the list is your cover stitch because it will save you so much time. Your clothes will look professional. And honest to goodness, before I went fishing last week on my trip, I whipped up a whole pile of shorts, leggings, things like that. I just spent one afternoon. I didn't even hem the leggings. I just wanted them short capris. I didn't have time to hem them. So I just cut them off. The fabric doesn't even fray. I'll hem them later. But I had a whole wardrobe every single day because they're fast and easy. And the double cover stitch or just a cover stitch makes it really fast to hem. I actually made, you might like this. Hold on, I'll go grab it. So remember last week when I showed everyone how to make the face wrap, the gator wrap? So I actually had yellow thread in my serger. I was using the woolly poly because it's a little thicker. And I went and cut a whole bunch of pieces. And you can tell these are all the same width. These are not exactly the same way I showed you on the yellow. This is just a rayon knit. And I cut these because I knew that anywhere we went, we'd have to wear a mask. So I did it with the yellow. So right side out, you can't even see it, but even if I wore it this way, it's kind of cute. And this was my gator mask. I made 3 or 4 of them. So I could always leave one in my purse, leave one in my car, because I'm always the one that's forgetting one and has to go all the way back to the boat to get my mask. So anyways, if you missed that episode, that was last week, I think, or the week before. All right, I see a few more questions here. Oh, the flat cover stitch, Rita, is so easy to do. But don't forget, if you press your fabric first and just use a little tailor's clapper on there so it has a nice crease, when you go to cover stitch that, gorgeous. It doesn't twist and turn. You don't have to, but that's my favorite way. All right. Can you show us how to turn the fabric to keep stitching nice? Angela, what do you mean by that? Because when I turn the fabric on those pants, as long as you give it a good pressing, it should be perfect for keeping the stitching good. But if you be more specific, maybe I can answer that. Oh, thanks, June. Just a quick one for Tuesday. Is the triple stitch on all Brother machines? I have a small, yeah, Sherry, I don't know if it's on all, but it's on most or many, whichever way would be the most proper way to say that. Well, probably most proper to say most, but that being said, they have a lot of machines I've never used before. But okay, how about this one? Let me check my NS80. Yeah, that's a smaller machine. It's on there. It's usually the stitch that's closest to the straight stitch. So look at your straight stitches, and it's usually like the next one or the next one, and it just looks like triples on there. Now, some of the machines for the more, the beginner machines, not as advanced, those sometimes you can't change the stitch length. So be careful of that. But usually if you change the stitch length on it, you can also change the width, which will move your needle to the right and left. So test it and let me know what you find out. Does thread get too old to use? Paula, I would say yes, for sure, it can. In fact, I had a batch of serger thread that one time we were taping It So Easy, and I was doing the simplest thing ever, and it kept ripping. And I could thread the serger in my sleep and use it in my sleep. I use it all the time. But for some reason, the stitch that particular thing I was doing was ripping, and it was driving me crazy. So finally, I was like, after the 3rd time of having to rethread the machine, which even if I could do it in my sleep, it's not that fun. I thought, what in the world? And I grabbed one of the spools of serger thread and just tugged it a little bit, and boom, it broke. The thread was old. So it can. And so you want to check your thread. Try to make sure it's not too dusty. Like I have all that thread on those walls, but I usually spray them off. Sometimes I cover them if I'm going to be gone for a period of time. And also just tug the thread a little bit. And if it breaks, then it's bad. So yes, good question. I just answered that one, Pat. You guys all have the same good questions. Okay, let's see. I see one more. Oh, Debbie, yes, the hammer trick for jeans. It also works for thick, like if you're using a thick pair of khakis, like I do for my husband sometimes, if I'll hem those for him, give it a little hammer. If you hammer on khakis, they'll do it from the inside so you don't end up with little stitches on there. Cindy. That's hilarious that these guys wear the gaiters and pull it all the way over their head. You know what? That's funny. But that being said, the gator mask is what we wear when we're fishing. And a lot of times we'll wear it all the way up as high as we can, even over our head a little bit, and then put our sunglasses on, almost exactly what you're talking about, because it protects you from the wind. It protects your ears from the sun. And so that's kind of like a twofer. And you can get into a restaurant to eat because you got to wear a mask. So, that being said, I never thought I'd be so excited to make gator masks before. Oh, good, Myrna. She's telling you guys the triple stitch is number 2. Check your manual. All right. How do you know what type of thread to use? So Kathy, just, universal poly thread, just the universal thread that you buy, it works great for so many projects. Just start with that. I mean, you can get into the silk threads and the rayon threads and things like that, but just universal polyester thread is just fine for much of this. So when you're getting started, start adding to your collection on that. Oh, okay. So I spray it with, you know, a air can, a can of air. I use it a lot on my computer desk, things like that, just to get dust off. So I just spray all the thread. The can gets really cold, so be careful. But that's what I use. Just get that in an office store or something. Zenny, will the thread last longer if you keep it in a container? You know, I can't really say, because I have thread that I've kept on my wall forever that's fine, and I have thread that I've kept in a container that wasn't fine after a little period of time. So it really just depends. I'm not an expert on that one, but thanks for asking. Debbie, what model machine? The machine I was using today was the Brothers Stillair. So that machine is, you probably see me use it quite a bit. That's what I've been using the last quite a few weeks. I have my Brother Luminaire over here, and I'm working on an embroidery project. So that's why I keep using the Stillair. Both machines are great. Both, you have to go to a Brother dealer. So the best part, if you're going to think about getting one of these, is go there and test them. Now you can actually get into the dealer machine, or the dealers. Before we were saying pop your trunk and pull up front, but now go in and test them. And also check to see if they have any floor models. Sometimes some of my first machines that I bought when I couldn't really afford the nicer ones that I wanted, I waited till they had a floor model. So just a little thing there. Now, of course, they don't have a million floor models, but if you're lucky enough to be there when they have one, sometimes they have good deals on that. And it still covers with warranty. At least get you started, right? Oh, Karen, I did make this top. This is my ruche tee. I made this quite a few years ago. It's my ruche tee. I have ruching on the side. Well, you can't see that. I'll take it down. I have ruching on the side. I'm ruching on both sides. And then I just did little cutouts at the shoulder. So it's my ruche tee with the short sleeve version, and then I just did a little cutout. I think I showed that a few weeks ago. Maybe, I don't know if I showed it in the Fashion Sewing Club or just in general. Jana, why can I not get my needle threaded? So Jana, let me ask you a question. Do you have an automatic needle threader, or are you just trying to thread it just on your own? Because if you have an automatic needle threader, I have broken too. Yeah, it wasn't because of the machine's fault. It was my fault. I had a size 10 needle, and I was trying to use that needle threader with metallic thread. That is like the biggest no-no, the biggest, and I did it twice. Yeah, but of course, it was over a period of like 8 years, first time. Maybe I'm getting a little shady up top. I forgot. But, you know, you don't think of it. So if for some reason your automatic needle threader is not working, you can call your Brother dealer and they can fix it for you. It's not that expensive. At least it wasn't 8 years ago. I still have to get this one fixed. Lisa, what are the dimensions of my gator mask? This one here? Let me check. It is. And by the way, just to be clear, these took 3 seconds to make. I did not hem the ends because it's rayon fabric. I didn't have time for that. All I did was I cut a whole bunch of these and just sewed from one to the other. And you can see how I finished the edges with the serger. So it is 12 inches, 12 and a half inches long, and including the seam allowance, 20 inches around. Now, I have a pea head. That's what everybody jokes. I've got like the littlest head. So you have to measure around you. And go back to an older episode if you want to see how to measure exactly. But the last one, I actually made it longer through here. But these, I just made the same. It stretches this far, and I still have a hard time keeping them up. So you got to measure on yourself, too. All right, just making sure. Oh, you did too, Evelyn? Yeah. Thank you. I feel better. I wish there was a little button or something that you could just like reattach a new one. That'll be our next request for Brother. When you're coming out with new things. Yeah, Timothy, that would work the same for shortening long shirt sleeves. The only thing on shirt sleeves, if it's a knit, sometimes they're just folded up once and done with a cover stitch. So, but if you don't have a cover stitch machine, another thing you can do is fold your sleeves up once and use a twin needle. So it's a little bit different because you only fold it up once. T-shirts usually don't have two folds on the sleeve hem. Usually, not always though. If it's a looser t-shirt, then you might. And then that would be the exact same technique and easy to do. The only thing you want to do is if it's a tighter shirt, you don't want to do just a straight stitch. You'll want to use the triple stitch or a twin needle because you want it to stretch when you put it on. I'm glad you mentioned that, though. It would be the same. Hi, Marie. Oh, gosh. Congratulations on your new machines. So if you go on my YouTube page, I have a ton of stuff for serging. For those of you that are in my Fashion Sewing Club, I have a whole section in there of serging that you can just go from one to the other, and it shows you how to use the serger. So 2 places. One, you got to serge a little bit harder, and the other is just part of that. I'm just making sure there. I'll put a little link in case you, for some of you that are new. Add a little elastic strap to go on your ears. Yeah, Maureen, you know, but I don't know about you, but I get the worst headaches if I have something around my ears at all. So you know what I did, though? Speaking of making it a little tighter, as I wore this and it got a little bit looser and kept falling down, I just took a little, a pin, like a bobby pin, or a safety pin, I should say, a safety pin. And I also, quite often I'll have my hair up in a clip, and I'll bring an extra clip, and I'll just put a hair clip. That's really easy to do. So that way I can just like reach back, put my hair clip right here, and it keeps it tighter. But a safety pin also works. And then I don't have to have anything over my ears. I know. I've got a few little weird things I can't stand. That's one of them. Oh, Barb. So yeah, my cover stitch has, can you see my cover stitch from here? You got good eyes. My cover stitch does have 5 spools because I have the double cover stitch. So a typical cover stitch, you'd have, well, 4. 3 for the needles, 1 for the looper, and I have the extra one for the double looper. So I don't know which machine you bought, but either way, they're all good. Marcy, this knit here is a rayon knit. Yep. Oh, welcome, Tina. First time here. Oh, Celeste, yep. And YouTube is a great resource for any of your machines. Brother Sews has a ton of videos for their machines as well, so keep that in mind. Oh, Marcy, that's a good idea. You could do that. All these different ideas. Hopefully, 6 months from now, we don't even have to talk about this anymore. But that, for now, we got to keep coming up with cool things. Do you make the gator 1 or 2 layers? You know, Debbie, I made one, that neck wrap. I don't know if you guys watched that episode. It was, you could still go back and see it. It was 2 layers of knit. And then I had one more layer where I could stick a coffee filter in there. And it's fine in the winter. But when it's warm and I've got that wrapped around, I'll tell you what, I'm like, it is just too hot. And I'm having hot flashes and I'm not even at that stage yet. So we're going to say 1 layer of knit. And if you want, you can add a coffee filter in there. So you just have to get creative on it. So anyways, that's an easy thing to do. You want my thread stand? Oh, this one. Yeah, that's actually for all the woolly poly, but it's cool, isn't it? And it spins. Yep, you can watch the replay. Brenda, we hemmed pants today. Oh, Charlene, you're new too. All right, did I miss any questions? I told you it was a fast tutorial for today, just hemming pants, but then we got into knits and everything else. And you know, I always love to take your questions. So if you have something that I can answer, I'm more than happy to answer. Oh, let's see. Kathy, what do you have on here? Could you demonstrate how to pin and sew a maxi dress myself? I'm 5'3" and I have to hem everything. I need to pin and hem my daughter's dresses and it ended up a midi. Oh no. So, you know, Kathy, first off, I think I have an episode. I know I have an episode in some of my online classes. If you're on any of my online classes, you can message me too and I can send you a link. But I could have sworn I did that on an episode of It's So Easy, which would be on my YouTube channel. So if you just go to angelawolf.com, you can access my YouTube, Facebook, the Fashion Sewing Club. If you're in the Fashion Sewing Club, I actually do tutorials in there exactly what you want. So either one. Yep. Oh, you're welcome, Cheryl. Oh, hey, Sherry. Yeah, so welcome, by the way. Welcome to the Wolf Pack. This is my website right here, and I'll put Brothers up here too. Let me just see if I can. There's my website. So if you go to angelawolf.com, you can access everything from there. I'm also working on something so many of you have asked. We don't know when you're going live, and I don't know if it's on the brother page or your page, or what's going on, or when a new online class started and you missed to get into because a lot of my new online classes you have to be in by a certain date. So I'm working on something very cool for you. It probably won't be ready till next week, so keep your ears open. And I think it's going to make those of you that have a hard time finding things or you need reminders, it's going to make it really easy for you. So I was working on it while we were fishing. I got to do something else, right? So I'll keep you posted on that. But go to angelawolf.com. You can find everything. And for brother dealers, go to brothersews.com and you can punch in your address and it'll show your closest dealer. Any suggestions for a first-time serger? Gail. I would say I would get a serger separate than a cover stitch for your first time, just because it's easier to use. And personally, I prefer to go from a serger to a cover stitch instead of having to switch things over. But the one I'm using now came out as what's Pace Setter. The Pace Setter, you can get it at a dealer. It comes with extra feet. And Gail, if you message me, I can send you a few links for some other ones. They're all brother, but I can send you links so you know exactly what they are. Because I don't always remember the exact numbers, but the Pace Setter is the one that is not that expensive, and you can get it from a brother dealer, which is pretty nice. Nope, Nancy, we're giving one more machine away on Thursday. The last one. So good luck. Hey, Dee, we're almost finished. You'll be able to watch. You guys will all be able to watch from the beginning. Don't forget, if you have a hard time finding the replays, just share it to your Facebook page. Oh, awesome, Zenny. All right. I don't see any more. Could you review how to follow you? Oh, I got that, Sherry, and I think I got everybody else's questions. So I don't think I missed any. If I did, I apologize. I tried to scroll as fast as I could. And welcome to the party, Kathy. Valerie, we're ending the show with that. That is the best advice ever. First-time serger, practice on scraps before you serge your actual garment or project. And that is absolutely 100% true. Totally. Oh, look at it. There's a ton of new people in here. Gilda, great to meet you. Hey, Ginger. And thanks, everyone. All right, so if you want to learn how to hem, you can watch from the beginning. And other than that, oh, Letha, you want to know how to win the sewing machine? Go to, I'll put a link here. And if you go to the Angela Wolf Facebook page, so go to angelawolf.com, click on my Facebook page, and on the left-hand side, you'll see contest, and that's where you enter. Oh, Deborah's new. Well, welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Karen? And Jean wants to know about the sewing machine, too. So what I'll do, if you go to the Angela Wolf Facebook page, go on the left, there's a contest. Now, the sweepstakes is different. That's on the Brother Sews page. So here's your job. When we click off on here, go to the Brother Sews Facebook page, and you can click on the sweepstakes. That is going on for, you have a chance of winning a few different cool things. You also have a chance of winning something to my academy, which will give you the fashion sewing club, the knits class, everything, the jeans, or not the jeans, the leggings, all of that's in that little cool collection with the sewing machine and thread. And then there's an embroidery room. There's a lot to choose from if you get to win on that. So that's on the Brother Sews Facebook page. And then go to the Angela Wolf Facebook page, look on the left side and click contest, and that's where you enter. If you can't find it, message me. I'll be on the computer for like another half an hour and I can quickly give you the link. Sound good? All right. Oh, Jolita, welcome. Oh, hey, Carolyn. Guess what? You're live today. Welcome to the club. And Chris. So everyone, I hope you have a wonderful day. Oh, thanks. Thanks so much. Oh, great to see you, by the way. And everybody found the right button. So have a wonderful day. Cindy Hogan's going to be on this afternoon. Don't forget, you can go to her page, Cindy Hogan, if you want to hear about some software. She always has cool things to share. Tomorrow, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, go to Angela Wolf. And Thursday, Emily's on here. And I think it's at 2 on Thursday. All right. Bye, everyone. Have a great day. Great to see you, and talk soon.